everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. It is hard to believe we've passed the halfway point with clue 5 and we're on our way to clue 6. I can't wait to see what this looks like. I know I say that every single time. But let's go ahead and get started putting together clue 6 of Carnival and see what this looks like because we're almost to the end. All right, I have everything that I need. I have my large clue number 6 for Carnival. I have my All right, I have everything I need. I have my instructions, which are the large Carnival clue number 6. I have my clue packet number 6, and then of course I have my color guide to let me know which fabrics go where. Let's go ahead and open up and see what fabrics we have included inside clue 6. Starting off, we have 2 small rectangles of F fabric. We have 4 small rectangles of A fabric. We have 12 small triangles of E fabric. There are 12 small triangles of A fabric. We have 4 small triangles of F fabric. We have 10 small triangles of B fabric. We have 16 small triangles of C fabric. We have 10 small triangles of D fabric. I have 2 longer rectangles of A fabric. I have 2 squares of F fabric. I have 2 large triangles of A fabric. I have 2 larger rectangles of B fabric. And last but certainly not least, I have 2 large rectangles of A fabric. So these are all the fabrics that I have included in this one. I'm going to go ahead and put these off to the table next to me, and we'll go ahead and get started with step number 1. Okay, starting off with section 6A, we're going to be making 2 of these, and our instructions tell us how to make both at the same time. We're going to go ahead and start off with step 1.1, which says to join a small triangle of C to a small triangle of A. We're going to make 2 of these in total, just like this. And then moving on to 1.2, we're going to sew a step 1.1, which is combining A and C. And we're going to combine that and add to the right a large triangle of A. And our A fabric is going to match up with our A fabric from our half square triangles. I'm going to go ahead and sew both of these at the same time, and I'll come back when I'm doing the final press. Okay, I have completed sewing both of these together. We did press our half square triangle towards our C fabric, and now it tells us to press towards our A rectangle. So there we go. There are 2 of those completed. Let's go ahead and move on to our step 2. Okay, moving on to step 2.1, it says to join a small triangle of A to a small triangle of D. We're going to be pressing towards our A triangle, and then we're going to add a small rectangle of A to the right. So we're going to be matching up our A fabrics again, so it looks something like that when it's done. For step 2.2, it says to join a small triangle of D to a small triangle of B. We're going to then press that towards our D fabric, and we're going to add our small rectangle of F to the right. And then we're going to press that towards our D fabric. Our A fabric will go outwards. And then for step 2.3, we're going to go ahead and sew all of that together. So we're going to sew our 2.1, on top of our 2.2 so that our D fabric aligns diagonally just like this. I'm going to go ahead and sew these together, and I'll come back when I'm doing the final press on 2.3. And by the way, on 2.3, it says we're going to be pressing towards the top. Okay, I've sewn both of those together and now pressing it towards the top of what I currently have. I love that my raccoon is perfectly framed in that half square triangle. He's upside down at the moment, but who knows where these are going to end up in the actual quilt itself, so it doesn't bother me that it's upside down because it may end up right side up at some point. So anyways, there is step 2.1 through 2.3. Let's go ahead and move on to step 3. All right, moving on to step 3.1, it says to join a small triangle of D to a small triangle of F. We're going to make a half square triangle just like that. For step 3.2, we're going to join a small B triangle to a small E triangle, make another half square. We're going to make 2 of those as well. And then we are going to sew for step 3.3, sew a step 3.1 to the top of a step 3.2. And we're going to make 2 of these in total because we made 2 of the other 2, step 3.1 and 3.2. So we're going to be making these just like this. Also, we are going to be pressing to either our D or B fabric. So on 3.1 towards our D fabric, 3.2 towards our B fabric. And then when we stack them on top of each other, we'll be pressing towards the top. I'm going to go ahead and sew all that together, and I'm going to come back when I'm pressing out 3.3. Okay, I've sewn those together, and now I'm pressing upwards towards the top of my pieces here as the instructions state. And there we go. We have completed our steps 3. Let's go ahead and move on to steps 4. All right, moving on to step 4.1, it says to join a small C triangle to a small D triangle. We're going to make 2 of those half square triangles. Then for 4.2, we're going to attach a small F triangle to a small B triangle, another half square triangle. And then for 4.3, we're going to sew a step 4.1 to the top of a step 4.2. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and sew all these together. We are going to be pressing for 4.1 towards our C fabric, for 4.2 towards our F fabric, and then we're going to be pressing this towards the bottom when we combine them together as such. I'm going to go ahead and sew all that together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing out 4.3. Okay, I've sewn those together, and now I'm pressing towards the bottom of this series of half square triangles. So it looks like that when it's all said and done. That is very warm. So there we go. We have finished step 4.3. Let's move on to step 5. All right, let's move on to step 5. It says to join a step 3.3 to the left of a step 4.3. So we're going to line these up just like this. So that way we have our F fabric diagonal to each other. And then we're going to add the step 2.3 to the right. So we're going to add on 2.3 to the right. Looks like this. You know you've done it in the right way if you've got your D fabric forming a diagonal and your B fabric forming a diagonal. And it should look something like this when we're all said and done. We're going to be pressing towards our center strip right here, our 4.1 that we just worked on. We're going to be pressing towards the center there. And I'm going to go ahead and put all that together, and then we're going to move on to step 6. All right, I've sewn these together, and now I'm pressing out, well, I shouldn't say out, I'm pressing inwards towards our center section. Might be a little difficult because there are definitely some points in there that you're going to hit, so just do the best that you can. Take it slow, take it easy. Manhandle it when you need to. My color guide just fell into the shot there, but there you go. All right, so this is what it looks like whenever we have completed our step number 5. We're going to go ahead and move on to step number 6. Okay, moving on to step number 6, it says to join a step 1.2 to the bottom of a step 5. We're going to make 2 of these, and then we will be done with our 6A when we've put all this together. We're going to be pressing towards the top of this as well. I'm going to go ahead and sew all this together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. Okay, there we go. I have completed both of these. I'm going to press these out. It is going to be a little difficult in spots because of how bulky some of these seams are where everything kind of meets up. But I'm going to do my best to press this towards the top, like so. There we go. It's a little bulky there, but I think it will be okay. Might need to do a little pressing from the back side here, but mostly we are good. All right, so there we go. We have completed our step, what was that? That was step 6. We are done with 6.1, 6A. And now we're going to be moving on to section 6B. It should look like, 6A should look like this when we're all done. And there we go. There are 2 of those. I'll go ahead and mark these as such, and then we'll move on to section 6B. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with section 6B. We're going to be making 2 of these, and these instructions tell us how to make both at the same time. Starting off with 1.1, it says to join a small C triangle to a small E triangle. We're going to make a half square triangle like that. We're going to make 2 of those. We're going to be pressing towards our E fabric. Then for 1.2, it says to join a small E triangle to a small D triangle. We're going to be pressing once again towards our E triangle on this side, and then we are going to, I didn't stack these up, so we're going to put them just like this. So we're going to have our E's on opposite sides here, and we're going to put them together just like this, if I can make that. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and sew these together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing out step 1.3. Okay, there we go. I've pressed these towards the top. I'm going to go ahead and move on now to 2.1 and those subsequent instructions, and we'll continue on. All right, moving on to step 2.1, it says to join a small C triangle to a small A triangle. We're going to press that towards our C fabric, and then we're going to join a small A triangle to a small E triangle. We're going to press that towards our A triangle, and then we're going to stack them on top of each other so that our C and our E are touching, and we're going to press that towards the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and sew all that together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing out 2.3. Okay, I've sewn these together, and now I'm pressing down towards the side that has the E fabric. So I'm going to press that just like that. All right, we have completed our step 2.3. I'm going to go ahead and move on to step 3. All right, moving on to step 3, it says to join a section 2.3 to the right of a section 1.3. We're going to make 2 of these in total, and you know you've done it right if you have your C diagonal forming here, your E diagonal forming here, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and sew these together, and I'll come back and press it out. We're going to be pressing towards the right side whenever we're pressing this out. All right, there we go. I have finished sewing those together, and we are going to be pressing, basically following the arrow formation, the chevron formation that's being formed in this section. I'm going to go ahead and press that just like that. There we go. We have finished step 3. Let's move on to step 4. Moving on to step 4, it says to sew a small triangle of C to the top right of a large triangle of A. We're going to press that, and then we're going to add our B triangle to the top left. Once we do that and press outwards towards our B fabric, we're then going to add a rectangle of A to the bottom, and it's going to make 2 of these. So it's basically going to look like this when we're all said and done. I'm going to go ahead and sew this up, and I'll come back when I have finished putting on the A rectangle and am pressing it out down at the bottom there. Okay, I've sewn those together, and now we're pressing upwards. We're following the direction of the arrow that's being formed, and we're pressing upwards, and I'm not doing a very good job at the moment, but I will press this out, and then we'll move on to step 5. Moving on to step 5, it says to turn step 4 as shown. So we're going to take our step 4 that we just did, turn it 90 degrees, or 90? 45. No, 90. Definitely 90. I lost my directions there for a moment. We're going to turn on its side to the right so that it's facing towards the right. And then we're going to join our step 3 to the left side here, so it forms that chevron or arrow shape that you see there. I'm going to go ahead and sew these together, and I'll come back when it's time to press it out. Okay, I've completed that. I've sewn these together, and now I'm pressing, following the direction of the arrows basically, and oof, I've got some really good points here. I'm very proud of myself for keeping those points pretty much intact. So there we go. We have 2 that look like this. I'm going to go ahead and move on to step 6. All right, moving on to 6.1, it says to sew a small B triangle to a small C triangle. We're going to pair those up just like that. We're going to make 2 of those. For 6.2, we're going to join a B rectangle to the right of 6.1 and then add an F square to the right of that. So it forms this row like this. I'm going to go ahead and sew all these together, and I'll come back when it's pressing it, when I'm pressing out 6.2, just in case you don't see on the directions. 6.1 does say that we're pressing towards our B, so I'm going to go ahead and sew all that together, and I'll come back when I'm finishing up 6.2. Okay, there we go. I have sewn all those together. We're going to be pressing towards our half square triangle at the end, so we're pressing away from the F fabric towards the half square triangle. There we go, and almost done. I love these raccoons. They're just so cute on these blocks. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's all said and done. There we go. There is a completed 6.2. Let's move on to 7. All right, moving on to 7.1, it says to join a small triangle of E to a small triangle of A. We're going to make 2 of those. Then for 7.2, a small triangle of A and a small triangle of C fabrics are going to go together, just like this. And then for 7.3, join a small triangle of E to a small triangle of C, just like this. And then for 7.4, it says to sew a small rectangle of A to the right of a step point 7.1. So it's going to, our A fabrics are going to be touching, and join 7.2 to the right. So we're going to have our A fabrics touching again, and then sew a step 7.3 to the end and to basically to the right of that. So when we put it all together, we're going to have our A fabric forming this kind of, what is it, a parallelogram? I can't remember. I need to go back to geometry. But we'll have a connecting A fabrics, and we'll also have our connecting C fabrics with our E fabrics out, kind of capstoning on both the top left and bottom right. I'm going to go ahead and sew all these together, and I'll come back when I am finishing out pressing 7.4. All right, I've sewn all those together, and I am now pressing everything towards the left per the instructions. So we're going to press all of our seams to the left side, and then we'll be done with our 7.4, which looks like this when it's all said and done. There we go. I've made 2 of those. Let's move on to step number 8. All right, step number 8 says to join a step 6.2 to the top of a step 5. So it's going to look like this when we put them together. Our C fabrics are going to line up in the diagonal, just like you see here. And then add a step 7.4 to the bottom. Again, our E fabrics are going to line up, and our A fabrics are going to line up, and our C fabrics are going to line up. And again, that's how you know you've done it correctly. I'm going to go ahead and sew all this together, and I'm going to come back and press it out. When we're pressing, we're going to be pressing away from our center strip. So we're going to be pressing to our 6.2 and then to our 7.4. I'm going to go ahead and put all this together, and I will come back when it's time to press all of that out. Okay, I've sewn all that together, and I am now pressing away from the center section. So you're going to press towards the top and towards the bottom of your section 6B, just like I'm doing right now. Although I probably should use like a regular size iron instead of my mini iron to do this part, because probably would give me a little bit of a better result, but that's okay. There we go. So that is what we have. I had that upside down. There we go. That is 6B. I almost said 6.B. I meant 6B. So that's what 6B looks like. So there we go. We have completed our 6A here on the right, and then our 6B here on the left. I'm going to mark them as such, and we'll go ahead and move on to our clue 7 when it comes in. I don't know what I was thinking, but I can't believe we're already on to clue number 7, and closer and closer to finding out what this quilt looks like when it comes all together. Can't wait for that, and I'll see you back here next month.